Okay, the roof of our vehicle has no damage or cracks. All 5 marker lights are present and working. The windshield has no cracks or damage. Our wiper blades are there and they look secure from here. All 4 of our mirrors look secure from this angle. The hood has no cracks or damage. There's no obstructions in my grille and it is safe and secure. My headlights are working on low beam and my 4-way flashers are working. I have my bumper which is sitting level. If it was not, it could indicate uneven ground or a broken spring or shock. Our license plate is secure. It is valid. There is no sticker on this. It just says permanent, so it is valid. And you're going to look underneath to make sure there are no leaks underneath the truck. Now we're going to open our hood. 3 points of contact when opening the hood and cradle it down so it doesn't rip the hood supports off. Okay, it's secure, so now I'm going to come around here. First thing you do is check your inspection sticker, make sure it is valid, which this one is until March of 2018. We're going to check our wiper arm, make sure it has sufficient tension and the rubber is in good shape. The plastic drip tray, safe and secure with no broken or missing pieces, and our drain hose has no obstructions. Okay. So now we're going to come down to our air intake, make sure there's no obstructions in it, no bird's nest, no plastic, no cardboard, no debris, and we're going to check the one in the inside of the hood. Make sure there's no debris in it or obstructions. Okay, come down to the top of our engine, we're looking for any oil leaks. We don't see any. We're going to check our fuel rail and make sure that there are no fuel leaks and all the fasteners are tightened securely. We have no CCFCs on the wiring, which would be cuts, cracks, frays, and corrosion. Now that I've said that, I'm going to use the abbreviation. You're going to come up to the front, you're going to check your coolant reservoir, make sure it's tight and the caps are on tight, and you have sufficient level for the day. You're going to check your rad support, make sure it's nice and safe and secure, and there's no missing nuts or bolts. Your hood strap, this steel braided, making sure there's no cuts or frays, and we're going to check our hood shock. Make sure it's mounted securely top and bottom and it's not broken or any damage. Okay, our air to air, make sure there's no ABCs, which is abrasions, bulges, and cuts. And we're going to make sure that our clamps are tight. Our steel tubing up here, we're going to make sure that there are no dents, cracks, or welds in it. Our oil filler cap is on tight and our oil filter caps are on tight. Going to check our fuel water separator, make sure it's mounted safe and secure and there is no leaks. There's no ABCs on any of the fuel lines there. And our air lines coming into our relay valve have no ABCs and they're nice, tight, and secure. Going to come down to our steering arm, make sure there's less than an inch of free play and our U-joints, top and bottom, are adequately greased with no missing hardware. Going to check our power steering reservoir. Safe and secure, caps are on tight, sufficient fluid for the day, and there's no ABCs on the hose and the clamps are tight. Our frame has no dents, cracks, welds, or shiny spots, and there's no missing nuts or bolts anywhere. Going to check our oil. Checking for 3 things. We're going to make sure that we have sufficient level, that there's no contaminants or milky coloring, and there's no metal shavings. Okay? Everything there seems to be good. Put that back in. We're going to check the side of the engine down here now, make sure there's no leaks in behind everything. Everything looks good. Our lower rad hose, safe and secure with no ABCs, and the clamps are tight. Now we have a steel rad hose. We're going to make sure there's no dents, cracks, or welds. Okay, our air dryer, safe and secure with no ABCs or CCFCs, and everything there is good. Our power steering gearbox, safe and secure to the frame, and there's no leaking anywhere. Our pitman arm is on there, safe and secure, no dents, cracks, or welds. It has a bolt and a nut on the top, and on the bottom it has a castle nut and cotter pin. I'm going to check our drag link. Make sure it's safe and secure with a castle nut and cotter pin. Now we're going to check our front and rear spring hangers. Make sure it's safe and secure with no missing nuts or bolts. And we're going to check our leaf springs to make sure there's no cracks, welds, or shiny spots, and they're in line with each other. Okay? Our Our U-bolts down there don't show any signs of wear, which would mean that they were moving or loose. And our shock absorber is mounted securely top and bottom with no damage or leaks. Now we're going to check our air line coming out to our brake chamber. There's no ABCs and it has sufficient slack for when we turn the wheels. Our ABS line also has sufficient slack and it has no CCFCs because it is electrical. Our brake chamber itself is safe and secure. We have automatic slack adjusters here, so we would mark and measure our push rod travel to be no more than 1 inch to 1.5 inches of play. Now we can check the inside of our rim, looking for dents, cracks, or welds, or any hub fluid leaking. We don't see any, so we're going to come to the inner wall of our tire. There's no ABCs. Even tread wear, no less than 4/32 of an inch. No ABCs on the outside. No dents, cracks, or welds in the rim. All of our lug nuts are there. And I don't see any rust streaks, which would indicate any loose nuts. Okay, my hub bolts are all tight and secure. I do not have any hub fluid leaking. And I'm going to pop the cap off, make sure that there's no contaminants and there's sufficient fluid in there for the day. Put the cap back on, give it a little twist to make sure it's seated properly. I also have a metal valve stem and a metal cap. My hood restraints, nice and tight and secure. My bumper, safe and secure. My inner fender, safe and secure. My headlight housing, safe and secure with no CCFCs on the wiring. Okay, now we're going to walk around to the front. I'm going to check our mirror, make sure there's no broken or missing glass and it is safe and secure. Get a better view of our hood, check for any damage again. This mirror again, safe and secure with no broken or missing glass. And we start at the front over here. So on this side, I'm going to start with my hood strap. It's steel braided, looking for cuts or frays. Don't see any of those, so we're going to go down to our shock, make sure it's mounted safe and secure top and bottom with no damage or leaking. Now we'll come to the top. I don't see any leaks or cracks on the side of my radiator. I don't see any ABCs in my top rad hose and my clamps are tight. Going to come up to the air restriction gauge. It is not in the red, so it's not indicating that our filter is clogged with any dust or debris. The air intake to the turbo tube has no ABCs, it's not cracked, it's in good shape. Coming down here to the turbo, we're looking for 2 types of leaks. One would be wet and one would be dry. Wet is oil, dry is soot. Coming to our air-to-air on this side, the flex hoses have no ABCs on either one of them, and all 4 of my hose clamps are tight and secure. All of my AC lines have no ABCs. They're not leaking any Freon or R134A, which took place of Freon. There is no leaks on the air AC condenser. Up here we have our rad support arms again, secured, not moving, with no missing nuts or bolts. Our AC pump and our alternator are both there, mounted safe and secure. They are not missing any nuts or bolts, and there's no CCFCs on the wiring. We have sufficient tension at no more than a 1/4 inch play on the belts, and there's no cuts or frays on it. Okay. The frame on this side has no cracks, welds, or shiny spots, and there's no missing nuts or bolts. The bumper bracket, safe and secure, no missing nuts or bolts. The fan shroud, safe and secure with no broken or missing plastic, and all of our fan blades are intact and they're not going to fly through the radiator. Going to come down and make sure that we have no soot leaks on our exhaust down in through the frame. We have our shock absorber mounted safe and securely top and bottom with no damage or leaks. We have front and rear spring hangers on this side again with no missing nuts or bolts, and our springs are in line with each other with no cracks, welds, or shiny spots. Okay, our U-bolts safe and secure with no signs of any shiny spots, which would indicate they are moving or loose. Our center link is down here, safe and secure, not bent or broken, with a castle nut and a cotter pin. Airlines, we're looking for ABCs. All the electrical, we're looking for CCFCs, and our ABS line, we're looking for CCFCs. Again, an automatic slack adjuster, we are looking for 1 inch to 1.5 inches of free play on the push rod. The inner rim is the same as the other side. There's no dents, cracks, or welds or hub fluid leaks. We have no ABCs on the inner tire. Even tread wear at no less than 4/32 on the front tires. No ABCs on the outside of the tire. No dents, cracks, or welds on my rim. No shiny or no rust streaks, which would indicate a loose lug nut, and all 10 lug nuts are nice and tight. All the hub bolts are there and secure. No hub fluid leaks, and we will pop the cap off to look for quality and quantity of our oil. We have a metal valve stem with a metal cap. Now we're going to continue on. Our washer fluid reservoir, safe and secure, caps on tight, and we have sufficient fluid in there for the day. Okay, our mirror is safe and secure, not going to fall off. Our light is working properly. We have no broken or missing glass in our mirrors or our window. Open the door, check your door pins, make sure they work, they're not excessive free play. Going to check our grab handles and our steps all at the same time. Both secure, and the steps are good. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to close the door. The door latches properly. Everything else on this truck is the same as the other.
Okay. Thank you.